Yo guys, it's your boy Bojack back with another YouTube video. Today, Efootball. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some things on how you can set yourself apart from other players, how you can improve, practice, and eventually climb those ranks in divs. I hope you enjoy the video. So first off, I'm going to show you these skills in the training pitch, explain the controls, the timing, etc. And then once I've done that, explained it well enough, I'll show you it in actual gameplay. First off, we're going to start off with the scissors feint, which is, as you can see, it's right analog, up, down, and then you move the left stick either left or right in order to determine the direction your player is going to feint. For example, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right, up, down, left. And in terms of timing, it has to be really instant between the right analog, up and down, or it might read it as something else, as what's happening right now when I'm hitting it off timing. You can also do multiple scissors feints at a time. For example, up, down, up, down. And it has to be left analog, left or right, in order to determine which direction your player's going to put out. Next up, double touch. Now, double touch, how I remember it, is the opposite of scissors feint. So instead of up down, it's down up with the right analog, and then with the left stick you flick it in your desired direction. Now if you aim it diagonally, you will incorporate what's called the flip-flap skill, and your player will take a bigger touch. Well, a diagonal touch, I should say. Whereas a normal double touch, your player retains the ball in his feet a lot closer. The skill moves that help double touch are obviously double touch, but also soul, control, and flip flap. These skills combine to what are called the level 3 double touch. Practicing on the training pitch, I think, is really useful because you'll get that time and space to practice these skill moves that in gameplay you're just not going to get. Now, doing it in gameplay is obviously harder, but that's how you learn, is experience and practice. In terms of timing, you want to press down right analog, and you want to press up just as the player is taking that touch on his first foot. So right analog down, and then when he starts to move his foot, that's when you want to press up, and that's when you want to use the left analog to determine the direction. These skills are good for making space on the pitch, getting around the man, but also creating different angles for a pass. For example, say I want to pass to Davids. Say I want to pass to Vieira. Bang. Next skill, Marseille 10. You have to be facing forward to pull off a Marseille 10. See how my arrow is straight forward? Unless you are facing straight forward, you can't do the Marseille 10. And also it says right analog to the right hand side, but if you're facing this way, you want to do the right analog left instead of right, because you're facing forward is now the opposite of that. As for the timing of it, you really want to do it instantly. It's more about, are you facing exactly forward? And those are really the three main skills I use in eFootball. There are other ones like Scotch move, like chop turn, but those are the three ones you're going to see a lot of. Now, we're going to take it up a level and we're going to do a double touch cancel. How do you pull this off? See there? That Davids looks like he wants to pull off a double touch, but then he sort of feints out. And how you do that is you input the double touch as you would normally, but then you super cancel with L2R2. And that's how you do a double touch cancel. And I'm going to leave it there for the skill moves right now, and I'll show you some examples in gameplay.
Goal scoring talent, but I'm going to mention a defender in Lilian Thuram. As good as they come for me, very strong, and it takes a shot. What a
and tactics. Formations and tactics are essential because ultimately they determine how your players are going to spread, what positions they're allowed to drift into, and really where you want them, how high your defensive line is going to be. Basic, especially when they become really essential when you come up against opponents you're going to have really tight games with. So first off, I'm going to go with the obvious, the play styles. Possession. In attack, your players come short to make options for you to keep the ball and spread it around. In defence, it's quite a high line. Your defenders will end up just behind the halfway line or even on the halfway line, depending on where you are with the ball. Possession is good for controlling the game, but it is quite a hard play style to use. I enjoy using it because I like building up from the back, keeping control, keeping the pressure on my opponent, because with possession, out of possession, players will get very aggressive. Quick counter. Similar to possession in the way you'll get a high line defence. The difference is the attacking instruction is your players are just going to run for and create chances via a long ball and a couple of short passes. Quick counter was the meta for a long time, as was long ball counter. And I'm going to talk about that after I've been through the playstyles. Long ball counter. You'll get a deep line, more of a deep line defence in long ball counter. Your defence won't sit on the halfway line, and your players won't be as aggressive on the ball as they are in quick counter and possession. In long ball counter, you want to play the long balls. Your players, similar to quick counter, are going to spread, running forward. But with quick counter, it's easier to make passes rather than holding square, heading it down, and then pulling off a couple of passes with a 1-2, etc. to create those chances. Long ball counter is very good for through balls, over the top through balls, and creating chances like that, as is quick counter really. Right now, I'd say long ball counter is very much the meta, because through balls are very strong, passes are very strong, and so to play a high line, it can be a risk, because at some point you are going to get caught out wide. Your players will push out wide in order to create crossing opportunities, especially your wingers, obviously. But say you have a wide AMF. Say I have Nedved over here. He's going to play like a right winger in attack. So with Neymar at SS, your team in outward strives to exploit the space in those flanks. It's good for crossing, but it's also good for cutting in. I wouldn't say it's the meta right now because heading was very, very strong. And it's just not as strong as it was in the current meta. However, it's not a weak play style at the same time. In outward also, it's quite a high line. Long ball, similar to long ball counter, you'll get quite a deep line defence, or a deeper line defence, so to speak. What you really want to do is boot it up, knock it down, and then go from there, depending on where your players are, depending on where the space is. I'll be really honest, I don't have a lot of experience in long ball. A lot of people are using Fabio Capello currently, so I'm not the best person to ask, and therefore I'm not going to give you some false waffle about how to use long ball counter, long ball to the best of your ability. I'd have to play it more in possession. I play 2 CDMs, and I'd recommend, because of the highlight, the idea behind this is you want to make it as difficult as possible for people to just put through you with one through ball, etc. Now we're going to talk about player play styles. Player play styles determine your players' positioning, how they're going to move about the pitch, even down to what sort of runs they're going to make. In defenders, it's how aggressive they are or non-aggressive, how they're going to sit back. Build up centre-back is instructed to sit back and not push out. Really, your build-up's going to be your last man. Destroyer is the opposite of a build-up. They are instructed to push out and really go for the ball. Defensive fullback, basically a build-up. Defensive fullback is really for right backs and left backs. They're not going to push up, but you can also play them as centre backs, and they are very good at being the sort of centre back that's going to bridge the space between the centre back and the fullback. Defensive goalkeepers, what that means is they're not going to run out on their own, really, unless it's painfully obvious they're going to have to. In situations where you think your keeper is going to get to the ball first, you want to bring them out manually. You want to hold triangle, because otherwise it creates positions where you're going to get caught out. Attacking goalkeeper is the opposite of a defensive goalkeeper. When they see an opportunity, say the opponents hit a through ball and no one's on the ball yet, and there's sort of a bit of a gap between where the striker's running on and the goalkeeper's going to run out, and most of the time they're going to get the ball. Not all of the time. Sometimes they might mess it up. But it's good for those highline play styles I was talking about, because it's going to bridge that gap and make those through balls a bit less appealing to your opponents. Attacking fullback. Your attacking fullback is going to make attacking runs. It's going to help your midfielders with another passing option. It's good for crossing also and out wide, unless you place a defensive instruction on your attacking fullback. And I'll get on to that. Anchorman. An anchorman is a CDM who is going to sit back and hold his position. He's not really going to help your attack, but he's really going to help your defence, because he's holding his position as a DMF. Destroyer is really similar to the centre back. They're going to be instructed to push out and really try and get the ball from your opponent rather than sitting back. Your whole player is instructed to make runs in the space, find the space, make an option across the pitch, Nedved's a middle AMF, but he's going to be venturing out into these sort of spaces because he's instructed to. Prolific winger, they're going to find the space on the flanks. Goal poachers going to make the runs. He's instructed to run. Fox in the box. A fox in the box will sit along the 18-yard box and really create options like that. They're good for getting other players involved in the process. They will make runs, but not nearly as much as a goal poacher, and they're good for creating those chances. Creative playmaker. A creative playmaker is not going to make those runs like a whole player. What it is going to do is it's going to play its position as essentially and get other players involved, find the space in its position. It's not going to venture out like a whole player is. Deep lying forward. A deep lying forward is an attacker who is going to sit high and hold his position. He's not really going to make those runs unless you do a 1-2. This is really good for helping other players get involved, but for a deep lying forward, you really want to make sure they're not on their own, and it really helps to be able to dribble and use skill moves as well to create a bit of space. Cross specialist, similar to prolific winger, they're going to sit wide and they're going to look for those crossing opportunities. Cross specialists are really good at crossing. There's just something about them that's difficult to explain, but they are. Now, how these playstyles complement each other. Destroyer and Anchorman complement. Why is this? Davids is going to be pushing for the ball. Vieira's going to be sitting back, waiting in case Davids doesn't get the ball. Build up and Destroyer, same concept. Goal poacher and whole player, similar cards. They're going to drag defenders with the runs they make. Attacking fullback, Destroyer. When the attacking fullback goes up, Destroyer's going to cover. Deep lying forward, goal poacher. Your deep lying forward's going to stay there in his position to receive the ball, while a goal poacher, say you're playing one of each, your goal poacher is going to be making that run, so your deep lying forward has an option. Prolific winger and whole player. Your whole player's going to be exploiting the space, and if you're playing a prolific winger in the same team, it's going to be easier to link up passes between those players. Fox in the box and goal poacher also complement for similar reasons. The deep line forward and goal poacher, and also play styles might work better in certain team player styles. For example, orchestrators are good in possession. They might not be as good in long ball counter, for example. Squad instructions. Squad instructions can help you fine tune a player's positioning when you feel like everything's good, but that player just isn't doing what you'd like them to. For example, if I put defensive on Lam as an attacking fullback, even though he's an attacking fullback, he's not going to push up and help me. If I put deep line on my Patrick Vieira in defence, going to be closer to a centre back than a DMF. Say your striker is coming back to help the defence too much, and you feel like you need a vocal point, that's counter target. It keeps the vocal point. Anchoring, similar to counter target. If your vocal point is drifting too hard, or if your fullback or winger is drifting too inside, anchoring's going to keep them from doing that, and it's going to keep them where you've positioned them strictly. Sub-tactics are very important, because if you are struggling to break your opponent down, it's always good to have a plan B, but it's also not just that. It's if your opponent wants to either man mark or tight mark one of your players, you have an option to switch your players around and really mess up your opponent's AI marking and pull them out of position because of this. Next up is an aspect of pretty much all football games. I have a separate video on YouTube talking about it, but I'm just gonna go ahead.
Okay, money! Children!
Money is an inevitable part of eFootball. This is because you can purchase paid players with special skills like the ones on your screen right now. Now, don't get me wrong, not all of the paid cards are amazing and that much better than some of the free cards. However, most of the top cards and the best cards are paid cards, and this is undeniable. Spending money in eFootball will give you some kind of advantage. However, it's not the be all and end all. But at the same time, I do believe two things in the way that you do get an advantage. Like I was talking about, I believe it's the same across any football game and most sporting games. That's just the way it goes. The decent part about it, or the silver lining, is that say you've spanned 200 out of this box, you will get all of those players. That's guaranteed, and that is that. And for today, that I do have a few more tricks up my sleeve, so if you want more, you know what. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, like, comment, share, subscribe. All of those help the channel out, and if so, I'll make another eFootball video like this one in the near future. Otherwise, let me know what you'd like to see with eFootball, but because it can be hard to make videos apart from player reviews, box openings. You'll find out where else to find me in the description. And until next time, take care. Bye for now.